Howdy, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the 7-Day Boogie. It is I, returning from vacation, relaxed and recharged Boogieman himself. How are we doing? Thank you for stopping by. If you've listened before, welcome back. If it's your first time listening, thanks for showing up. Either way, let's get right to it. Like I said right as soon as I started talking 30 seconds ago, I am back from vacation. My love and I took a trip to the beach with some friends and had a great time. A quick anecdote from the trip. You may notice I've got a bit of a divot on the forehead, a scuff on the bumper. I went for a run on the beach, right? You're feeling good. The sun is shining. The wind is blowing. You've got sandy, salty air flying through the sky. You feel like a running type of guy on the beach, and you run 2.5 miles, and it feels good, right? What do you do after that, right? What do you do after you go for a run on the beach where you feel strong and tan and fast? You want to cool off in the ocean, right? So you take off your hat and you take off, or you put your phone and stuff down, and then you wade out to what you think is a safe depth to dive over a wave and do the hot guy move, right? You go down and you come up and your hands through the hair, and then my love goes, woo, because I do a hot guy move. But what you actually do is you headbutt the earth, because there's a sandbar about 20 feet offshore that's about ankle deep that you don't see. So you wade out and then you kabonk yourself. Looks worse now than it did during the entire vacation. It's really not a big deal. It's a bit of a scuff. It's just we caught it on the way up. You know what I'm saying? We didn't pull the landing gear up quick enough. Stayed on the runway a little bit longer than we intended to. Got a little bit of it on my nose as well, but we're fine. We recover instantly. But that I bring that up, right? Because life, in my opinion, is all about balance. It's got a way of balancing you out, and just even in just know that at your tannest and most running on the beach, you can still headbutt the ground, you know. And there's an analogy in there that's poignant somewhere, but you know, that's the only bad thing that happened on the vacation, and I don't even really consider it a bad thing. It was funny. I bonked my head in a silly way. So vacation was amazing. We ate incredible food. We drove around on a golf cart. A lot of nature, a lot of pelicans out on the beach that we loved to watch. A couple dolphins. No sharks that we could confirm. However, we did watch a stinker of a shark movie, and that's the movie that we're going to talk about this week. Thrash is a new shark-based horror movie that Netflix just released, and we watched it while we were at the beach, which is prime be scared of sharks territory, and this movie sucks a lot. Don't watch this movie. I'll start it by saying that. I am someone that just watched all 7 Tremors movies, and I told you some that you could skip if you wanted to. I'm telling you not to watch Thrash. It will offend you. It does not respect your intelligence because it has none of its own. I love monster movies. I think am the demographic for this movie. I have Netflix. I love and fear sharks. I love movies where people get eaten by stuff. I like the beach and water. I don't know what else I could have possibly been into in life to want to watch this movie more. And I've watched other movies like this that we'll talk about in a little bit, but this was a bad one, you guys. Netflix fucked this up bad. And I'm going to give you a couple reasons. The premise of the story, right, is that there is a hurricane that traps some people in a small oceanic town. And then it follows like a couple different stories. Some come together towards the end, but it's kind of just these like individual survivor stories throughout the movie. There is a pregnant woman that had to work, so she didn't get to leave the island. There is a young woman that is dealing with a heavy amount of grief, so she did not want to leave her home. There are scientists that are there to help people. There are news people that are there to film everyone else dying. And then there are 3 children that were adopted by a mean couple that only feed them bread while they eat steak and collect money from the government. We're barely going to talk about any of those stories in detail because they don't matter. Here are the parts about the movie that made me mad. They do a lot. Again, I am easily impressed. I have a pretty low bar for enjoyment of a movie. Like, I genuinely enjoy it's pretty hard for me to not like a movie, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't like this movie. The characters are silly and dumb. The timing of events is all over the place. Like, this is a sloppy movie. It's daytime sometimes, it's nighttime for other characters. The sequence of events, then like how time progresses is completely up to what the story needs in the moment rather than having any sort of like through line of consistency time-wise. There are things in this movie that make me feel like they want you to not pay attention to this movie. This movie seems like it was made for people that are going to be on TikTok and just look up every once in a while and be like, oh, shark person, or person running from shark, or person fighting shark, but not really pay attention. This is like fold your laundry type content. This is content to be ignored for the most part, and then you look up every once in a while and you see someone get eaten by a shark. That is the most praise that I can give this movie. Choices are made that don't really make any sense. There is truly a few parts of this movie that had the group of people that we were watching the movie with like on their feet gasping by how much it does not make sense. The main example is, like I said before, the 3 children that are adopted by a mean couple that just use them for government assistance checks, and they just like abuse them and feed them bread, and it's awful, right? You're waiting for these 2 foster parents to get their comeuppance essentially as soon as the movie starts, right? That happens. The 2 evil adults are trying to leave the kids and escape on their own because their truck has a snorkel. It's essentially an amphibious Bronco. So they try to leave, and they are both chomped up and dragged away by sharks. Wipe your hand of it, they're gone. Thankfully, right? Bad people meet a bad end. Classic monster movie move. The children are then kind of formulating a plan, and in the process of doing that, they gain some self-confidence to fight against the people that had basically instilled that fear and anxiety within them. And they have this part where they're like, they're breaking free of that feeling that they can't do anything on their own, and they're going to finally fend for themselves. And I think the parents' name, like Mr. Olson is the Olson is the last name. They go, fuck Mr. Olson. Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck him. And then he fucking pops out of the water like a comedy routine without an arm and all bit up. And he's like, oh, you kids. Oh, you darned kids. He has like you sicko kids, like Scooby-Doo villain moment. And then he just gets fucking eaten again. I talked about, I've referenced these things in past movies that it just like, 'cause we can type of decisions in the movie. Like, they were writing it and they were like, what if Mr. Olson comes back for one more joking jump scare? But then he gets eaten. There's another scene with a car accident involving the woman that is pregnant and the young woman that is grieving, kind of trapped inside of her house. The car accident that kind of causes the entire shark horde to descend upon the town is a meat trucker crashes his meat truck into, and this is not like a refrigerated truck with ground beef packages in it. This is a liquid tanker truck full of sloppy joes that crashes into the statue in the center of town, splits wide open, and just dumps manwich all over the town, right? The water gets chummed, and in the process of doing that, like, the waves are crashing. This pregnant woman that was trying to leave town crashes her car, gets trapped by a tree. The woman that is grieving in the house totally rescues the pregnant woman. It's great. She does like a very brave, overcomes her fear, gets out of her own head, and puts her coat on and rescues the pregnant woman. Her getting to the car takes like 5 minutes. She's scared. She immediately falls into the water when she's trying to like traverse these tankers that have kind of floated into her way. There's like a rooftop shed and some like storage containers that float over to kind of make a path to the woman's car. She like really struggles getting there. There's distractions that she makes. And then basically as soon as she touches the car and gets the woman free, they appear coming back through the window. That just got it. We're there. Checkpoint. You get to fast travel back to the room. So there's just these weird inconsistencies. And that scene could have been just as interesting with the woman that is pregnant having to climb up through the window. More slipping could have had, there's just so many choices that they could have made instead of just having these like moments in the movie that can be clipped into 15-second YouTube shorts to just get people to click on the movie for 1 second. There's things that happen at the end of the movie that had us all screaming. I mean, most major choices in this movie made all of us yell, like vocally object to what we were watching. Just like, whoa, what's the compilation of all the dudes from The Sopranos just going like, oh, was basically how we were ingesting this film. Again, in the place, we're in like the shark bite capital of the universe on this beach, watching a beach adjacent shark movie, and it couldn't even get and it was like the first night that we were there. We were ready for the beach action. We were ready to be engulfed into thrash, and it was trash. So don't watch Thrash. If you want to watch a movie about sharks, let me give you a couple really quick. I've taken some notes. Okay, if you want to watch shark movies, I have 3 to recommend. They might be kind of obvious, but they're better than Thrash even on a rewatch than watching Thrash for the first time. I'm going to say The Meg. Meg 2 is like over the top in a lot of ways, but still enjoyable. But the first Meg, The Meg, I stand by as being a terrific shark movie. The next one's probably pretty easy to guess. Deep Blue Sea, which I think is like the number 2 overall thought of movie for sharks besides Jaws. If you haven't seen Jaws, watch it, but I'm assuming everyone's seen Jaws and they're looking for other shark movies, so I'm not going to suggest you watch that. So The Meg, Deep Blue Sea, which is fantastic. And then a recent shark movie that I really enjoyed, Dangerous Animals. More of kind of like a horror thriller killer story, but there are sharks in it, and they play a pretty major role. I would very much suggest Dangerous Animals as well. Now, if you're looking for just like body of water, scary animal movies, I got a couple non-shark related animal scary movies for you. I feel like as a kid, I watched Deep Blue Sea and Lake Placid on the same day. And that was as formative an experience for me movie-wise as I've ever needed. Like, there are just some pillars of scary movie history for me, personal movie history. Lake Placid and Deep Blue Sea are on there. Lake Placid could be the best non-shark big thing in the water movie, in my opinion. Here's one from when I was younger, kind of my generation of silly, over-the-top animal scary movies. Piranha 3D. If you can catch it in 3D, why not? This is an over-the-top scary movie, adults only, right? Because there's some boobs in this one, and I think someone's penis gets bitten off. So viewer discretion advised. It's way over the top, but it's essentially like, what if the Meg was piranhas? Ancient place opens up. These crazy piranhas come through. I think there's a tectonic plate involved. But then these piranhas are just shredding the whole time. Just rip and tear the whole time. The Doom soundtrack is playing throughout most of the movie while the piranhas are just eating people up. Would recommend. Watch most of these other ones first before Piranha, I would say. But if you've already seen all the other ones, haven't seen Piranha, throw Piranha on. Make a burger, make some food, and enjoy it. And finally, the movie that I think Thrash kind of ripped off wholesale is Crawl, where it's about a city that floods and then gets infested with gators, which is a movie that I actually really enjoyed. I don't know if alligators are scarier than sharks. They might be. Visually, like the thought of being in the ocean and having a shark come out of the blue abyss is really scary. But also visually, the thought of being in like murky swamp and having a crocodile or an alligator try to attack me, and then I run onto land, and then so it does too, is so scary. So I would recommend watching Crawl, because it's basically Thrash, but actually pretty good, and with alligators instead. So those are the movie recommendations that I would say you should watch, then don't watch Thrash. Let's move on to the gamer segment.
Hello everyone, Frog Bard here, bringing you a segment from YouTube channels past. The Did Not Finish Diaries is a series in which I dive back into games that for one reason or another, I did not finish. And that is where this week's game comes into play, Cult of the Lamb. This game is a fun and chaotic roguelite where you play as a sacrificial lamb, brought back by the Dark Lord to seek revenge on the heretics of the world. This game has the typical ever-changing dungeon-crawling randomization action, fun boss fights, and cool, dark magic. And when you're not slashing and dashing your way through the dungeons, you go back to your little management town portion of the game, where you can cook and build and farm with your cult members, or perform sermons and rituals to appease your Dark Lord. But I'm only a few hours into this game, and I am really enjoying it. I'm happy that I jumped back into it. And so far, the Cult of Boog is thriving. It's been a fun way to just kind of turn my brain off and play something a little silly. And if that sounds good to you, then I highly recommend checking out Cult of the Lamb.
Thank you, as always, to the Frog Bard for the gaming insights. More fun gaming stuff in the works right now. But friends, it has come the time to say goodbye for this week's installment of the 7-Day Boogie. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. Again, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if there's something you want me to watch, or if you've seen the movies I'm talking about and want to get in on the discussion. Thank you again. I love ya. Mwah.